Hi everyone, good afternoon. I've just been out for a walk at the beach and I'm now going to show you how to use pigment sprinkles to do a background for the Curvy Christmas stamp set, which you can see now on camera. So tonight I'm doing an online class using this set. So just to show you first of all some of the cards we're doing this one and we're doing this one. And we're doing one with owls on it, but I think it's over the other side of the room because I was taking photographs. But I have done a YouTube video, so if you go to YouTube and look up Fanny Stafford, you can find the cards that I'm doing. But the ones I want to focus on now are these two, which we're doing one of these in the class, and my ladies can choose what colour background they want to do a watercolour wash on. So what I want to show you first is how to do a background with pigment sprinkles. So pigment sprinkles are Stampin' Up's version of Brushos. They're not in the current catalogue, but they're on the clearance rack at the moment. If you go to our website and if you go on sales specials and then you come to the clearance rack, and these are reduced to £8.40 for 6 from £21. If you're a customer and you don't have another demonstrator, then do go to my website, fannystafford.stampinup.net. So these are the colours that the pigment sprinkles come in. You've got Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, Daffodil Delight, and this is Mango Melody. So just going back to these cards, this one was done at a Stamp and Chat using Gorgeous Grape and Mango Melody. This one was Granny Apple Green and Bermuda Bay. So I thought this time I would change the colour combo and I'd go for Gorgeous Grape and Melon Mambo. So the first thing you need is to have waterproofing around your desk. Any cards you don't want to get spritzed with water, keep out of the way. You might, like me, like to wear some latex gloves to protect your fingers from going red, blue, purple, whatever colour you are using at the time. So these come as powders. You can either apply the water to the watercolour paper and then tap on the powders, or you can tap on the powders and then spritz, which is the method I'm going to use today. So when you open up these, you've got a little cap on, and the best thing to do is to put a bit of washi tape over. There are 3 holes, and you don't want very much of this at all, as you will see. So cover up with a little bit of washi tape. 2 of the holes is probably a good idea. And then enough will come out, I promise you, out of 2 holes. You see some's come out already. So I'm going to start with the Melon Mambo because that's the lighter colour. So I'm just going to tap. Do say hello, type in. Oh, hi, Steph. Good to see you. I think this is the first time you've watched me doing Facebook Live. Thanks for, I guess you've got a day off today perhaps, or working from home or something. So I've just put down the Melon Mambo. And now I'm just putting down a little bit of Gorgeous Grape. Probably want to, you don't need too much. You see, you wouldn't think that those sprinkles would come to anything. But wait and see when I get my spritzer what happens. I'm just going to spritz it off and then spritz it on and watch the magic happen. So you can see it's activating the ink. So these are similar to Brushos, but they're Stampin' Up colours, so they coordinate with our products, which is really good. So that's okay, but do you know what? I kind of want that to be a little bit darker, I think. So this is where you can play around with a bit. So I'm going to put a little bit more of the Gorgeous Grape on. And you can see when you apply the powder to the water, it goes off a bit like fireworks, which is a very different effect to when you put the powder on first and then spritz the water on. So really depending on what effect you want. So I don't want to end up putting too much because, as we say in the trade, less is more. Want a little bit more water down here. So, oh, you're off sick at the moment. Did you recover from COVID? Because it sounds like you had COVID, which from your blog, well, not your blog, your Facebook page. That was very concerning, but oh, thanks. It is incredible. It's great fun. It's playing with ink, and we love playing with ink. But you always need to have kitchen towel to hand because you just never know. So there we go. I'm quite pleased with that. So I've got my kitchen towel ready. You always need loads of kitchen towel. So if I just get that, because I want to mop up some of these wells of water at the side here, which I am going to get my heat tool in a moment to dry this. but I'll just do this at the moment. This is what I spend time doing, Steph, playing with inks and things. It's great fun. Just going to put a little bit more water on the edge here. I've actually got a glass plate underneath my silicone sheet. We had a new fridge freezer a few weeks ago, and I kept one of the shelves from the fridge before it went, because I thought that will be useful. Oh, you did have COVID. Oh my goodness. I'm really sorry that you're so unwell. I hope that you recover and everything, because that's long COVID, isn't it, when it goes on and everything. So anyway, I'm glad that perhaps you can relax and think about other things watching this afternoon. So right, so I'm happy with that. I think that's a really nice background. So I'm going to get my heat tool now, which is plugged in and ready to go. And technically speaking, you should use the higher heat for embossing and the lower heat for drying. So I'm going to start off, there's my heat tool, with the lower heat. And then I might just ramp it up a bit just to get it drying quicker. Can you see how the ink is spreading as it's drying? If I just left it, it would dry exactly as I left it, but because I'm doing this, it's going to dry a little bit different. So you can see, even in the Melon Mambo, there's a bit of Mango Melody, there's a bit of orange in the Melon Mambo. It's amazing, even with brushes you find this. Don't know if you can hear me above the noise of the heat tool. There's a bit of green coming up now in the Gorgeous Grape, and I haven't added any green. So I'll just finish drying it off and just dry the back a bit, and then just dry. I don't know if you could hear me while that was on. It might not have muted itself while the heat tool was on. But if I just dry my surface like that, and if I bring it up close, you might be able to see there's a shade of green in there, in the purple. Now that, it's amazing, these pigment sprinkles, and brushos are amazing as well. Brushos are on the clearance rack too, but they have shades of other colours. So this was supposed to be purple, Gorgeous Grape and Melon Mambo, but it's got a bit of Granny Apple Green in the Gorgeous Grape. I love that. So that's a background done like that with the pigment sprinkles. So I'm going to be a very good girl and put these away before they tip over and get pigment sprinkles all over my desk. So let's just pop those over there, out of sight, out of mind. So that's one background. So this is specifically for the ladies for my online class tonight who will be doing this background for the card. So I'll put that to one side. And now I'm getting my ink pads to do another different type of watercolour background. So the ladies who haven't got pigment sprinkles, or if you want to do this and you haven't got pigment sprinkles. Oh, thanks, Steph, for letting me know you could hear me. So we do our watercolour brushes, aqua paint as they're called, in 3 different sizes. One, a large, a medium, and then we also do a small. Sorry, I'm not just telling this to you, Steph, but this is for people who are watching on catch up later. So there's the large, which is great for doing watercolour washes. There's the medium, and there's the small, which is good for fine details. So I'm really glad we've got them in 3 sizes. So I'm going to start off first of all with the large one, but it seems to have some ink on the bottom of it. So I'm just going to quickly clean off the bottom like that in my pot of water. That's just a kiddie's paint pot really. And just hoping I haven't got too much gore. It doesn't really matter if I get other colours in, but I'm just going to first of all do a wash over this. Just squeeze some water on and give it a good. So some of the pigment sprinkles have managed to get on the watercolour paper. So the lovely thing about watercolour paper is that you can really, yeah, it's getting a little bit of pigment sprinkles, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to have other colours. So that is nice and wet now for the time being. I think that will do. So I take this brush and I'm going to start off with the lighter colour, I think. I've already prepared the, you can just see there, the, what you do is you squeeze the ink pad like this, you close it and you squeeze it from underneath and then you open it up. So this is like your own little private class, Steph. I just drop some water in because the aqua painter has water in the barrel. Drop water in, and then if I just do this, you can see it spreading. Do you see that spreading? Okay, so it's just spreading out. Now, if I want a darker effect, I grab a, I'm going to take Coastal Cabana. I'm going to grab, these are our re-inkers, so they're more concentrated ink. They're used for inking up our stamp pads, but in this case I'm going to use it for applying darker ink. As you can see, it's going to spread out more like that. So I want a little bit more water over here, so I'm just going to put a bit more water on here. I can squeeze that out. Yep, a bit more water on there. Okay, probably doesn't look as if it's doing very much at the moment. Just wait and see though. So take a bit more of that. So I'm sort of doing the lighter colour first. So then I'm going to, if I just put that out of the way down there, and grab some, this is Gorgeous Grape. So this is quite, I'm going to squeeze it from the bottom. So this time I'm not using the re-inker. I'm just going to clean off, this is why I need loads of kitchen towel to clean off the brush as best I can. Get some water out, and then I'm going to put some purple now. So for the people for my class who don't have pigment sprinkles, you can do it with aqua painters and the top of your ink pad. So that's doing purple. I've got another colour to add as well. Don't want too much purple really, so I'm just going to put that to one side. And the last one is Bermuda Bay, but thinking about, yeah, we'll use Bermuda Bay. It is fun. Whoops, it is fun. So she dropping the ink pad. I'll just get the ink pad the right way round. Check that this is, I hope it's going to be dark enough. We'll just soon see. Yeah, that does a bit of contrast. Then just filling in the gaps. And in a moment, I might actually give it a spritz just to really pull the whole thing together. So this is quite a mixed background at the moment, as you can see. A little bit darker down there, a little bit here. So it's really mixed in. So now I'm going to take the spritzer and just give it another spritz, and that should all melt together a bit more, hopefully. Now, if I wanted to, I could just take, and in fact I might come back with a bit of the re-inker for the Gorgeous Grape. So I'll just find that on here, so you can see the top of the ink pad there. So I'm taking my whoops, that's quite a lot. Whoops is quite a favourite word of mine when I get carried away and suddenly a whole load gushes out. So let's see what happens now. So can you see, now that it's wetter, you're getting the darker colour coming in? Because if it's going to be a night sky, it's got to be, ooh, look at that branching out. Oh, ooh, that one really took off. Do you see how it really takes off when you have quite a lot of water? It really goes to town. So there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that, and there's some paler bits as well. So there we go. So that's a background with the top of the ink pad. So I think all the ladies that are doing the class have got Stampin' Up! Ink pads. Look how dirty that brush is now. Oh dear. Right, so I'll just dry that off with the heat tool so that you can see a little bit more what's happening. Sometimes I do, in a way I do prefer it drying naturally, but so in a moment I'm going to show you how to stamp the Christmas trees from the Curvy Christmas set onto the background. These probably won't quite be dry enough, so I have actually picked out another background that I've done already to show you. So this is drying quite nice. So I think we're getting an idea that if you dry it with the heat tool, it does go lighter as you dry it, which is interesting. So if I just hold it there, so that's quite an interesting background. But if I wanted to stamp on this, I would have to make sure that it was really dry before I stamped on it, because otherwise it would, the ink, well, unless it was stays on, which is like permanent ink, the image would go a bit fuzzy, which I mean some people might want for a certain effect. But so if I just take off my gloves, because and then I'll just clean my surface here. And then I'm going to get out my Stamparatus. In fact, I'll put that over there, move those out of the way. And I'm going to get out my Stamparatus to show you the stamping. So I've already set up my Stamparatus. Just going to get those out of the way. I always like to put, so this is the stamp set that we're using, Curvy Christmas stamp set. And we're going to be using these trees here and the Thinking of You at Christmas sentiment as well. So I'll just take these gloves off so that I can do that. Okay, so put that I'll put that underneath here. And you can see I've already lined up. So I've lined up the trees. You'll notice all my ladies in your kits that you've all got the plain edge from the Curvy die. That's what the die looks like. So if you cut it that way round, you get a plain edge like that, if you do it that way round. If you cut it that way round, then you get the lovely dots, holes going along the edge like that. So the problem is with this way round is that, in fact that's the top, is that it doesn't fit. It fits like that, but if you put it this way, it won't fit with the stamp set very easily. This plain edge fits far better with the trees, believe me. But anyway, somebody might be able to work it out differently. So I've got my trees. So what I'm going to do, and then I've got Thinking of You at Christmas lined up along the edge there because it is a Curvy sentiment stamp. So this background, I think I might have done in pigment sprinkles, I think with the Mango Melody, and possibly, and a little bit of red came out while I was doing it. So I'm going to do the sentiment first because I don't want to get the black of the trees onto that sentiment. So I think that I will actually do that sentiment in, let me think. I've got Cherry Cobbler here, so I think I'll do it in Cherry Cobbler. So when you're doing a sentiment stamp like this, either use a stamping spot, which is our small, we've got these uninked and then they can be inked up, or we do them in a set of 8 where they're already inked up, which is quite a good deal for somebody beginning. So basically I'm just going to go along like that. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can just about see. Can you see there where I'm just inking up the sentiment like that, and then I'm going to stamp it down on there and then just give it a good pressure. The lovely thing about the Stamparatus is that if you don't get it right first time, then you can just do it again. So that's fine. So now I'm going to take the stamp off and stick it to my glass shelf from my fridge. I'm just going to take a sip of tea. I've got a nice hot cup of tea here. That's good. Lapsang Souchong. Now, the trees I'm going to do in black because I really want them to stand out. So I'm using Memento. We'll see how it goes. Stays On would probably give it a bolder colour. But because this is dry, I can get away probably with using Memento. So just give a good whack on the stamp with the ink pad. Bring the trees over and just give a good pressure with your hand. Like that. And they've stamped really, really nicely. So now what I would do is I will stick down. I will need to trim it. I'll just put I'll just put Tombow, you can probably see that there, along there, just a little bit down, not too far, and I'll stick that exactly where I want it to fit in. So I can either have it up like that, but I quite like to leave a little gap, I think is rather nice. So I'm happy with it like that. And then you'll see I've got bits at the back. I can just take my paper snips and trim these pieces off. So I'll just trim that piece off like that, and that piece off like that. And there you go. So that, I think, would look really nice if it had a piece of black card behind it, and then it went on a card. Let me see if I can find, rather than just going straight on like that, it needs another colour behind, and usually black is the best colour, and then on white. So you can see again that one, and then obviously that's the one I've just done, which I'll finish off. This was with the top of the ink pad and with the re-inkers on watercolour paper. I wet the watercolour paper first, and and that's Gorgeous Grape with Pool Party and a little bit of Bermuda Bay. And then this is the Pigment Sprinkles, where you've got the Melon Mambo, which has tinges of Mango Melody orange in it. And then you've got the Gorgeous Grape, which seems to have a little bit of green in it when I heated it, which is really interesting, actually. I haven't noticed that before when I've used that before. So those are the techniques that I wanted to show you today. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll be able to watch again when I do another live. Bye, Steph, and anybody else who's watching. Hope that you enjoyed it. Bye.